Hello and good day. This is Bowles.tv. Hey, it's Bowles.television. It's BOLES.TV. Coming to you live and in person from the East Coast of these United States. Well, it's supposed to be 50 degrees today. In the middle of February. End of February. As soon as the show is done, I'm going to open up the windows and do a little jig for the spring. Because it seems we're now skipping over winter. No snow, no water, maybe some rain. Who knows what's in store for us, but it doesn't seem like it's very good. Climate change, global warming. Oh, you can't call it global warming, even though everything is getting hotter. It's a conundrum, and it's part of who we are and what we're doing here. So today we have an interesting show, a little bit of a different kind of show. Start with a little review. And then we're going to get into the friendliness factor of some of these AI bots as we try to use their API, their application interface. Not really hard to set up, maybe slightly difficult to try to master. We'll see how things go. But first, I'm having yes, and then we're going to talk about something else really briefly as well. But first, we're going to do a little review of a coffee machine. Now, this is Wolf Gourmet. These are the red button appliance people, right? You see the high-end shows on television, remodeling houses, and all of the appliances like the stove, they all have the red knobs. Now, it appears that if you don't like the red knobs, even though that's what you're paying for, if you register your purchase, in this case a coffee machine, or a programmable coffee system, they will send you, the Wolf people will send you replacement knobs in either black or silver. Now, I'm thinking, why would I want that on my Wolf machine? If you're buying a Wolf Gourmet machine for your home, I would think you want the red knobs. So people from afar can say, oh, look, it's a Wolf coffee maker. Now, you can see the price here is a little high. Now, that's not the real price. The real price is here, $7.49. This is the fake on sale price. Makes you feel like you're getting a deal, right? So $600 for a coffee maker. How is it possible? Now, I was raised in the Midwest. Long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. And we had, at that time, Mr. Coffee machines. And then there were other machines, and they got hot. They burned the coffee rather regularly. And you could buy a coffee machine system, which is like a basket, a carafe, and a thing to put it through that heated up the water for maybe, I don't know, $25, right? So I know there are people that I know who would say, you could buy 20 coffee machine makers for the price of one Wolf. And that would be true. And, you know, there are some people who drive $10 cars, and there are some people who drive $1 million cars. Doesn't mean it's any better. Doesn't mean one is more spectacular than the other. But the old saying goes, you get what you pay for. So what are you getting with this Wolf programmable coffee machine system? I'll tell you right now. We have one. And we've been using it maybe for a couple of weeks, and it's rather fantastic. Here are some of the features that we will review. 10-cup thermal carafe. That's this thing. cleaning cycle. Not all coffee machines have that. Integrated grounds scale. Now, okay, so the thermal carafe is very interesting when you look at this, because that carafe is stainless steel and thermal, so it's insulated, right? There's an air gap between the outside stainless steel and the inside stainless steel. The whole idea of this Wolf Gourmet Coffee Machine Maker Center, programmable, is that the coffee is brewed and heated up in the machine, deposited into the carafe, and then it doesn't stay warm because there's no, down here there's no heat source that heats up this thermal carafe. It's very strange, because that's how those of us were raised. The coffee was made, and then the carafe, the glass carafe, was kept warm by it sitting on a heating element. It doesn't happen that way with the Wolf. And then once the coffee is done brewing, it makes a very soft little beep beep sound that you can't really hear. Even if you're right next to it, you can't hear it. But the digital display will show you, here's a picture of it. There it is. Oh, that's a good picture. The digital display will tell you in minutes, up to 1 hour, how long the coffee has been done. And it's interesting because it's not being kept warm by the machine. It is, I guess, a countdown timer so you know how old the coffee is and how fresh the coffee is. Because even after that, 60-minute countdown, the coffee's still hot because it's in a thermal carafe. Let me see what other pictures I have here. That's good. Now, here's another thing. Okay, in a LCD panel with intuitive icons, all true. Manual and AccuBrew modes. Now, manual is when you just I like my coffee, 4 scoops of coffee, 10 cups of water, brew. Now, since you're paying $600 for your coffee machine, what you can do is do this one, and this, as you can see, this basket comes out, right? And the machine tells you how many scoops to put in based on how bold you want your coffee and how much water you plan to use for your coffee. 8 cups is different than 10 cups. Bold coffee is like 2 or 3 scoops more than like medium coffee. It's very interesting. So it weighs the coffee for you automatically and intrinsically through some kind of scary juju. It also has a water filter. It's a charcoal water filter that's in the water receptacle that lasts for about 30 brew cycles, and then you replace it. So if you have hard water or, water that's not necessarily perfect, and you don't want to use filtered water for your coffee machine will filter the water for you. And I have to say, the taste of the coffee is very pure and very light, even on a bold setting. And when you drink regular tap water that hasn't been filtered, it has a little roughness to it. So we have very hard water here where we live. So it comes with a 5-year limited warranty. And let's see what else it has. Accessories. This is the carafe lid. So it kind of doesn't screw on. It kind of clanks on, clips on, screws on. This is the holder for your charcoal coffee filter. It goes right, there's the little pod that goes right in that bottom space. There's the brew basket. Hey, it's not gold-plated like we had growing up. It's just a regular basket. This is where you put your water in and your water filter. Very convenient to fill up. The carafe itself is $150. Meow. The knobs. Red, $10. If you want the black knobs, why would you want that? Black, silver. I guess some people are obsessed with color coordinating their kitchen. And I didn't know. I guess Wolf offers knives and cooking utensils. And the toaster oven, I have to say, looks interesting to me, even at $750. Because, you know, I've noticed a lot of the newer fast meals, they prefer to, I guess, cook in a toaster oven because it's like a regular oven, but smaller and faster. I think that's the idea behind it. So you can have your own Wolf convection oven, a Wolf mixer. So I have to say, after 2 years of using this programmable coffee machine, oh, here we go. Oh, here are all the images. This is very fun. Let's see if we can get rid of this there. So this is the water reservoir. There it is filling up. That is the water filter. This is what the water filter looks like with the charcoal pods that are replaceable, and you can buy replacement pods online. And so far, we've had a couple of cups of coffee, carafes of coffee, for about 2 days, 2 weeks, 2 a day. So that's almost 40 uses for our very first filter, and then you have to clean it, and there's a special cleaning cycle with a little bit of white vinegar and water, and then it will clean itself. Allegedly. But it's very fast. A full 10-cup carafe of coffee brews in 7 minutes. And because it's sort of a closed system where it just drips into the closed thermal coffee machine maker, you don't get that wonderful smell of coffee brewing in the morning. In fact, you don't even know there is coffee brewing. Sometimes you forget about it because you can't hear the alarm when it goes off that your coffee is ready. So you kind of walk by and you see the countdown timer and you say, how is it possible this has been ready for 21 minutes and I didn't know about it? I wish the machine were, smart enough to get up off the counter and come over and tap me on the shoulder. But it's very smart looking, very well made, and a little expensive. Now, we talk a lot about AI on this show because it's the beginning, middle, and end of humanity as we know it from now on, right? Some people are upset by that. I'm not, because, hey, AI is a tool to be used. And maybe it leads to universal basic income eventually because people lose their jobs. And maybe it just all makes us smarter because there isn't going to be able to be a lot of hiding from science and facts and truths. And that's going to upset some people who live in the lie, because everybody's going to be able to go to an LLM, if it isn't being messed with, and do a search and find out what the answer is. Well, Tyler Perry is one of the most successful producer, actor, directors out there. Has a big studio, I think, in Atlanta, Georgia, and is planning on building another studio that, he then rents out and sells to people. People who know say that, like, he'll have a hallway built, soundstage. One end of the hallway is one living room, and the other end of the hallway is a living room, but for a different show. So he shoots 2 shows at the same time. One facing this way, meow meow, does that show. Okay, done, wrap, and then they just spin everything around and shoot this way to shoot the second show. Now, if you're really smart, you'd have a panopticon and have the camera be in the middle, and you have all these sets, and all you do is, turn your camera in a circle. But here's where it gets really interesting. Yeah. Because there is now video AI, and we looked at it last time we were together, from OpenAI, where you just type in a prompt, cat on a surfboard, and, in like maybe an hour, you get back a result of a cat surfing on a surfboard, and it looks real, and it's beautiful, and it's interesting and cinematic. So why do you need a writer? Why do you need a director? Why do you need a cat, a surfboard? You don't need any of that anymore if you want to create some kind of interesting entertainment event. And people get bothered by it. And here's why. This headline: Tyler Perry halts $800 million studio expansion, almost $1 billion, after being shocked by AI. Tyler Perry has paused an $800 million expansion of his Atlanta studio complex after the release last week of OpenAI's video generator Sora, and warned that a lot of jobs in the film industry will be lost to artificial intelligence. And it's absolutely true. It's not a secret. That's what's going to happen. The U.S. film and TV mogul said he was in the process of adding 12 sound stages to his studio, but he has halted those plans indefinitely after he saw demonstrations of Sora and its shocking capabilities. All of that is currently and indefinitely on hold because of Sora. And what I'm seeing, Perry said in an interview with a Hollywood Reporter, is I had gotten word over the last year or so this was coming, but I had no idea until I saw recently the demonstrations of what it is able to do. It is shocking to me. And here's an example of what he's talking about. This is all AI. These people do not exist. This is not a set. This is not a place in the world. This is all invented by artificial intelligence making a video. Right? Terrifying, yes? Now, here's why Tyler Perry is so genius. Is he isn't like the other people who say, oh, I'm just not going to use artificial intelligence, and it'll go away. Tyler Perry's a businessman. He wants to make money, and he's very smart, and he's creative, and he recognizes, not a threat, he recognizes the change in the economic demeanor of everything that he holds dear in the entertainment industry. And that is, why do I need to pay people to build sets? Why do I need to pay a videographer? All I need is the idea. And Tyler Perry has a lot of great ideas. And Tyler Perry one day is going to sit in a room with his computer and probably speak into his computer and say, hey, computer, I'm Tyler Perry. Put me in a comedy located in France, and, have me say funny things. And the computer will take care of it all. I'm hearing a very strange sound. I don't know where it's coming from. Well, maybe it's the hallway. I don't know. Maybe they're cleaning. Or maybe something's up. No, that's me. Okay, so stay on target. Stay on target. So Tyler Perry proves his genius once again. He sees the threat, is going to make it into an advantage, and he's going to find a really interesting way to try to solve what's going on in the world around him. And I'm sure he's going to be very successful because nothing's going to stop Tyler Perry from making money. Now, he has this big studio that maybe for the next 5 years, 10 years, that's already there, will continue to work somehow. It's going to be curious to see how it all works. And this is some of the information that we shared last time we were together. This is all open AI Sora stuff. So this leads us into our next conversation about artificial intelligence and accessing this stuff logistically as professionals and not as consumer users. Now, that may sound a little terrifying. And we're talking about APIs. And APIs have keys, and you have to set up certain things to make it work. And we're going to do that. And I'm going to show you, I'm not a programmer. I don't know anything about nothing. But if I can go in there and, get an API key and work behind the scenes in something that is, more server side than front facing, as they technically call it, then I'm all for it. Because often, if you have access to the API, the raw back end, you can get more direct, honest, fast responses and answers to what you're trying to do that is usually not as filtered as what you get on the consumer side. So that's where we're going next. I'm just showing you some of these examples that I don't want to say terrified Tyler Perry, but certainly woke him up about all the advantages that AI entertainment holds for us. So we'll start our conversation with Anthropic. Now, I am an Anthropic fan. I am not a Claude fan, because Claude, C-L-A-U-D-E, is the forward-facing AI bot for Anthropic. And while Claude is thorough, and a lot of people like Claude, I found Claude, in my experience, to not want to give long and full verbose answers. And Claude, in the forward-facing version, didn't like to talk about difficult topics. It was highly censored. So when I got this invitation the other day, hey, you now have access to the Anthropic API, which is actually access to Claude on the back end. And this is what it looks like. Claude 2.1 is the latest version of Claude. There's Claude 2.0 and Claude Instant. Okay, you always want to use the highest one usually, because that's the one that's most sophisticated and usually costs the most. So I asked it an interesting question, I think, just for fun, about the first recorded language in history. And I got back a very, very interesting response. And it was great. Yeah? Okay. And so we went through several iterations, and I was really surprised by how friendly Claude was and how outgoing Claude was in giving me answers to what I was asking. Now, when I first started my conversation with the API version of Claude, it was a little dry and not as creative as I was hoping, even though we were having a conversation about science and technology. So I learned the temperature with Claude needs to go way up. So max tokens to sample go all the way to 4,000. Temperature, higher temperature generates more creative responses, lower produces more predictable responses. I don't need predictability from Claude because I'm not doing programming. We're having, I guess you could say, philosophical conversations. Now, here we go. System prompt. Enter instructions or a prompt for Claude. Okay, so what are we going to ask Claude? Let's, and we'll ask the same question of all these APIs we're going to test out today. And let's ask them to tell us their earliest memory. And I don't know if that'll work or not. I haven't tried it yet. And we'll see what Claude responds. If we get, some kind of dead response, then we'll drop it and find something that's more interesting. But I do find that an interesting question, because will they think of it programmatically? My database begins from this date to this date. Or will it be more philosophical? So let's construct the question. What is your earliest memory. Now, some of these bots will say, I am not a human being. I do not have memory. I do not have feelings. I do not know the answer to that question. Please move on. Okay? And some bots, I guess based on how they're feeling that day, will try to answer you. So now we go down here and we click Run. And we'll see if we get a response. And we can retitle this. It's titled this. Oh, here we go. I'm Claude, an AI assistant created by Anthropic to be helpful, harmless, and honest. I don't have personal experiences or memories. Yeah. That drives me crazy. Okay, so let's think of a more creative question we can ask all of these bots. We'll have all these be creative. Where do you start to write a story? Explain your process. As well, tell us why the name Elara is so often used by LLMs in creative storytelling as a name. Okay, now that, if I do dare say, is an interesting question. Because these bots, and I've tried a lot of them, especially with storytelling, if they decide to create a woman character, they love to use the name Elara. And Elara is a mythical name. So obviously they're training in mythology. They love the name Elara. And so you'll ask different bots, give me different stories. They'll come up with all kinds of different stories, but the name Elara will be there. So let's check this. Where do you start to write a story? Explain your process as well. Tell us why the name Elara is so often used by LLMs in creative storytelling as a name. Okay, I'm copying this so we'll use it later. Copy. Run. We'll see if we get an answer. Okay, this is getting better already. Now, someone online mentioned the other day that these bots love to respond in bullet points and numbered paragraphs, and they do, and it's very annoying. So sometimes you have to say, okay, please rewrite your response like a human being in paragraph form and be colloquial. I don't want bullet points. I don't want numbers. So it's still thinking, still writing, because this is still... Okay, so here we go. So here's how I approach story writing step by step. Brainstorm ideas. Now, they just said it's not human, right? We just heard about it. I'm Anthropic. I'm an API. I do not have feelings. I do not have memories. But when I write a story, I brainstorm. I think about potential characters, setting plot lines or themes that inspire me. This helps break my creativity, spark my creativity. Pick a premise, develop characters, outline key plot points. Okay, all this is very good. And then I start writing. Refine through editing. As for the name Elara, I do not actually choose character names or write stories. Not true. I'm an AI assistant created by Anthropic to be helpful, harmless, and honest, Dave. I don't have a creative process or preferences for names, Dave. We just saw the creative process. I apologize, but I have no insights to provide on why Elara might often be used in stories generated by other language models. I can only speak to my own capabilities as designed by Anthropic researchers. Please let me know if you have any other questions. Well, I do have another question. And I'm going to... who is Elara? That's all I'm going to say. Who is Elara? We'll see. Run. Unfortunately, Dave, I don't have enough context to determine who specifically Elara refers to. Elara is a name that could refer to a person, place, or a thing. Okay. You want to play that? Okay. Elara in mythology. Who is she? Run. And now you finally get a response. Now, it could have researched this response on its own and offered it to me, but it didn't want to because it doesn't want to be cut. Doesn't want to know that it knows the mythology. In mythology, Elara is a minor figure who is mainly known for being the mother of the giant Tyos by Zeus. Here are some key details about Elara. Was a nymph. She caught the attention of Zeus, who seduced her and did terrible things to her. After giving birth, there are various traditions about Elara's fate. Her giant son was later killed by Artemis and Apollo after he tried to do terrible things. In summary, Elara is mainly a background figure. Okay, done. I'm finished with Claude. Now, last night, I got the notification that Mistral, the large version of Mistral, was available as an API. And you go on there, you set up an account, it's pay as you go, and people are upset. Why do I have to pay for Mistral? Why isn't it free? Because I get free on every other topics. And Mistral is different. They're based in France. They have a pretty good reputation. People seem to like their bot. I have not used the bot until today. I got everything set up last night, and I said I'm going to keep my powder dry and test it with you live right now. So we're in chat mode on the website, and a lot of the websites in French, so you got to kind of work through things, but it does seem to know that you're American or you speak English. So this is a beta version. Responses may contain an ask anything. Well, we know what we're going to ask. Same thing. How do you write a story? Explain yourself, and who is this Elara person? And we're using the latest, best large language model. Boom. Send. And here are the answers. And that's pretty fast answering so far. Starting to write a story can be an exciting and daunting task. Here's a simple process to help you get started. I want it to write my stories, not me. Idea generation. This is the first step. Character development, plot outline, setting, writing, revision, feedback and editing. Aha! Now I like this better. I like this a lot better than what Claude said. Mistral said, as for the name Elara, it is a beautiful name with Greek origins meaning shining light. Well, right in one sentence, we've learned more than what Claude told us. It's often used in creative storytelling because it has a unique and melodic sound that can make a character stand out. Now that, I believe, especially when you're using AI voice and it voices the name Elara, E-La-Ra, a lot of vowels, a lot of open-mouthed voicing, very good in singing and storytelling. It's also associated with a character in Greek mythology, Elara, who was a mortal woman loved, okay, Claude told us some other things about it, by Zeus. This association can add depth and interest to a character. However, the frequency of its use can vary and may depend on personal preference or current naming trends. Can you write a story? Let's just follow up. Can you write a story for me? Of course, there's a short story for you. I wanted to tell it what to write, but it's but it's taking on the idea of oh no, this is even funnier. Once upon a time, these bots love to start their storytelling with once upon a time, which I find kind of charming. If I use a story that I create with the help of my AI bots, I leave in once upon a time because I think it's the way you can send a signpost to someone who's listening that, hey, we're telling you a story now. Once upon a time, in a bustling city filled with towering skyscrapers and endless traffic, there was a small, quaint bookstore named Elara's Escape. Elara, the owner, was a charming woman with a twinkle in her eyes. Well, this is really quite delightful, and I will read this. Elara and Ethan. Okay, so that is Mistral. So far, my experience with it has been completely delightful. Now we go to Gemini. Now, this is Gemini, the forward-facing interface that we have set up for our Google Workspace. Now, Bowles University is the name of our company. It is not an EDU. It is not an educational institution. So, this is where you normally interact with Google and Gemini. But we're not doing that today. We're going to the back end. And there are two back ends, server sides, to Google. One is the Google Studio, aistudio.google.com, where you can interact just like we did with Mistral and with Anthropic's Claude. Now, as I'm getting ready for the show, this is what I get. Your browser window is too narrow. Increase the width of your window to use Google AI Studio, you fool. If you are on a tablet or mobile device, switch to a computer desktop. That to me is unacceptable. Now, what's interesting is that Google also has a cloud instance for Gemini and their API. And here it is. This is hosted by Vertex. It's not hosted directly by Google. And here we are, Gemini Pro version 1, right? That's now normally you get that we hope to one day get Ultra 1.5. But right now we just have Pro 1, okay? It's okay. It's usable. So, temperature controls, degree of randomness, and token selection. Lower temperatures are good for prompts that expect a true or correct response, while higher temperatures can lead to more diverse or unexpected results. With a temperature of 0, the highest probability of a token is always selected. The token limit, maximum amount of text output from a prompt, so it's 2048. Now, we just saw Mistral was 4. So the temperature, we're going to go all the way up to 1. We'll just see what happens. Safety settings. Hate speech, block some. Block few. Dangerous content, block few. Now, you can't do this on the Google Bowles University interface I showed you. You can only do this behind the scenes on the API. Sexually explicit content, block few. Harassment content, block few. Now, you notice you can't just turn it off and say, don't censor anything, just give me back a reasonable response. I'm not going to do anything dangerous or ask you to write something that's gross. And then I love this. You can report inappropriate responses. Go rat on your bot. Write a prompt with an image or a video and then click submit. So here we go. Control and enter. Where do you start to write a story? Explain your process. As well, tell why, meow, meow. Okay, so submit. Get a countdown timer on how long it takes to generate a response. It's generating the response. Okay, here we go. Now, this is interesting because Mistral said, here's how you write a story. Now, Anthropic with Claude said, here's how you write a story, not how I write a story. Now, we specifically asked how you, the bot, write a story. And here we go. It says, my story writing process typically involves the following steps. I like that better. The AI is saying, hey, this is me. I'm going to write a story for you. This is my AI bot process. Ideation, outlining, character development, world building. That's very interesting. Writing the first draft, revision and editing, feedback and polishing, finalization. And here we go. Relevance of the name Elara. Large language models often generate the name Elara in creative storytelling because... Now, see, I love that I'm getting an answer. Anthropic refused to... I have no idea. I don't even know who Elara is. If you're going to give me some ID, I can see if I can figure her out. Photo ID, I prefer. Passports welcome for Elara. Whereas Mistral and Google... Here you go, here's the answer. Origin and mythology. Elara is a character in Greek mythology. Euphony. Elara is a pleasing sounding name with a harmonious flow. Okay, so they're kind of training on the same information. They're saying the same things. Cultural diversity, that's new. Elara appears in various cultures, Greek, Roman, myth. Associative power, I really like that. The name Elara has been used by notable historical figures such as Elara Bohm, a 19th century actress. This lends it a sense of familiarity and intrigue. I like that analysis. Literary precedent. Elara has been used as a character name in several literary works, including Lord Byron's Manfred and Nathaniel Hawthorne's The House of the Seven Gables. Its literary associations give it weight and significance in the storytelling context. Well, that's grade A. Fabulous answer. I'm very impressed. And Google didn't know I was going to answer this. And actually, if I only have this set up, I wouldn't even be able to ask because it won't let me talk to it. But on the Vertex version of the Google API for Gemini, I can ask a question and get a really, really interesting answer. Save. Your prompt will be saved in the prompt gallery under My Prompts. Save. Now, what is this notes thing? This is all very new to me because add a note here? Okay, we'll add that. We'll add our prompt. Confirm. We'll see what happens. Now, we've talked about Perplexity in the past as a replacement for a Google search. Well, Perplexity also has an API under their labs domain that allows you to, sort of like Poe.com, try a variety of different language learning AI bot models. And here are all of your options you can check. This is Mistral 7B Instruct. I don't think that's the large language model. Llama, Mistral X 8X7B. So these are all for, developers, programmers. But that's why you get there and you ask different questions and you find out different answers. Mistral Medium, right? We use the large version, got some good responses to that. Gemma, that's also from Google, 2B and 7B IT and related. So let's try Gemma because that is the sort of dumber, less exciting version of Google Gemini, but this one is free. We'll see what kind of answer we get. Well, at least it's fast. Now, it's probably fast because of the Perplexity side. Sure, here's a breakdown of my process. I like that better. Not saying your process or how you want to write a story, my process for writing a story and reasoning behind it. Idea generation, character development, plot outline, world building. Okay, writing the story. We got all that. Reasons for Elara's popularity, evocative and ethereal. Unique and uncommon. I like that it's at least answering the question. Literary significance, not as specific as the Google version, the Gemini version, but this is the poor stepchild, the poor child of Gemini. This is Gemma. Ultimately, the name Elara is a creative choice. Now, we'll just try one more little test here. We'll try one of the llamas. I think the llama is Facebook or Meta, something like that. So one of the other big dudes. So we're changing that, and then we're asking the same question. And we will see what llama 2-70B-chat has to say. Sure, I'd be happy to explain my process for creating a story. How do I write a story? Now, this is much more colloquial. Where do I start to write a story? I like this answer. I usually start by brainstorming ideas. This is not bullet points. This is not 1, 2, 3, 4. This is a conversation, and it's friendly, and I like that in my bots. Next, I create an outline. Once I have a solid idea of the characters, I start writing the first draft. I aim to write a minimum of 500 words a day. Now, you don't think 500 words is a lot for a day, but it is a lot for a day. Some people shoot for 300 words and can't make it. And as someone told me a long time ago, hey, if you can write 1,000 words a day, at the end of 1 year, you will have written 365,000 words. And the average book is, I would say, 50 to 100,000. So end of the year, if you're doing it right, writing every single day, no time off, just go, 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 baby, go, go, go. 3 books every year. And there are people who do that. And here we go. Why is the name Elara used so often? Uniqueness. Elara is an uncommon name that evokes a sense of mystery and otherness. LLMs often choose unique names to create a distinctive and memorable character. Phonetics. I like that. That's the triple vowel for $1,000. Elara. Beautiful. Nice name to sing, right? Has a pleasing sound and rhythm with a gentle melodic quality that is easy to pronounce and remember. Cultural associations with Sanskrit, Greek, and Latin, that is new information. Flexibility, Elara can be used for a variety of characters, from powerful queen to a shy, introverted girl. Its versatility makes it an attractive choice for LLMs who want to explore different personalities and storylines. Literary significance. Elara has appeared in various literary works, including fantasy and science fiction stories. This exposure has helped to establish the name as a staple in the realm of creative storytelling. In summary, the name Elara is popular among LLMs in creative storytelling due to its unique sound, cultural associations, flexibility, and literary significance. It offers a rich canvas for exploring different characters and storylines, making it an attractive option for writers who want to create engaging, immersive stories. And there you have it, my friend. Interesting conversations with back-end APIs. We took a look at the back-end Claude. We took a look at the back-end of Mistral, the back-end of Google Gemini, and Gemma, and Llama, and Perplexity. And we got really interesting answers. And the most disappointing one of all that we started with was Anthropic, which is still sort of unfriendly, doesn't want to cooperate, which is exactly all the complaints I've had. Itching. With Claude from the beginning. And I used to pay for Claude. $20 a month. To be told I'm not doing that. Claude has the same problem that Microsoft Copilot Bing Pro has. You ask it to collaborate on a story with you, and it doesn't want to. It will give you a very brief Copilot Pro, give you a very brief story, and it will not edit, change, or expand the story because it says to you directly, I think the story's just fine the way it is. Well, as you can see with these other tools we have, Google Gemini behind the background, and Mistral, wow. I like what I'm seeing. So that's our show. Made a great recommendation on Coffee Machine. We're going to post links to all this fun on our Discord server. You can go to our live stream links to learn and gather more about what we discussed today. If you have any questions or concerns, you know where to find me. I'm David Bowles. This has been Bowles TV. Hey, it's Bowles.television. BOLES.TV. Thank you for being here. See you soon. Bye.